ఓం శ్రీ గురుభ్యో నమః. అందరికీ నమస్కారం. Sufi masters and the real masters believe that the teaching can be given to the disciples only in certain contexts and situations. Only the teachings given in those contexts and situations will reach the disciple, or rather the disciples will be able to absorb the teachings given only in those contexts and situations. Otherwise, the teachings given in a normal situation, the value of it will be lost and the disciples will not be able to recollect or remember and make use of it in the right context. So, they prefer to give the teaching to the disciples only in certain contexts and situations. So, one day one master was passing through a street. He noticed that some arguments are going on in that group of people. So, he asked, the master asked a passerby as to what is happening there and why people have assembled there on the street. Then the passerby told the master, "Master, your disciple is arguing with people around him on their behavior." So the discussions were going on in that context. So, here what we have to notice is that it happens with knowledgeable people, because the people of knowledge, they want to put everything in order and everyone in the right way. So, when they notice that somebody is slipping the right path, they want to change such people, and in the process what they do is, first they condemn his attitude, the other's attitude, and in the process they create a feel of guilt. So, they try to make the other person feel guilty. Here, what we have to notice is, though the intention to transform the other, to change the other is laudable, it is not the right attitude and the correct approach in that process. Because when you say that you are wrong, the very process gets closed up from the other side. Because when you say that the other is wrong and make him feel guilty, he closes his doors forever and he starts defending his attitude and his actions by saying, "This is my fate, I am what I am." So, like this, with this kind of pessimistic attitude, he closes the doors of any transformation within himself. So, all this happens because you are trying to make him feel guilty. So, the fundamental thing is, never condemn any person by finding and searching his errors or faults or drawbacks. If you really love him and want to change or transform the other, no man who is wise will ever start with condemnation and make him feel guilty. So, the man who knows, he, out of compassion and love towards the other, tries to transform him in a positive way, and that is the right approach in the process of changing him. So, the point here is, there is something inside him which is throbbing with natural goodness and divinity. Whatever the mistakes, drawbacks or wrongs or errors committed by him, they are only momentary and on the surface. Inside him there is a natural goodness. So, you have to provoke that natural goodness. you have to bring light to that kind of a person who is stumbling in the dark. When you bring the light, he comes to know of himself where he has to move, where he has to stop. So, by provoking his natural goodness of light, such persons realize their own faults, and once they realize the faults or the mistakes or the drawbacks, they try to correct themselves. All you have to do is to provoke his natural goodness of light, and that natural goodness is the inherent nature of everyone in this world. So, masters, the real master never makes the other feel guilty. His approach, I mean the real master's approach, is not aggressive, is not violent. With compassion and love, to help the other to come out of that wrong patterns, he helps them to realize their own shortcomings by showing light to them. That is the wisdom of a master. What he does is, he waits for the right context and situation to provoke his natural, I mean the other's natural goodness, and brings a kind of a change and a transformation in the other. And such persons cannot even notice the change that has come in them, the transformation that has taken place in them because of the master's wisdom and because of the master's teachings which have worked on their inner being. So, such is the compassion and love of the master. Then, once he realizes his own shortcomings and the transformation that has taken place, he will be grateful to the master. So, in this case, the master approached the disciple who is arguing with the people around him and asked him, "What is going on, my son, here?" Then the disciple told the master, "The behavior of these people is hostile to me." Here, then the master told the disciple, "You see, my dear, your ego is very strong, which makes you to feel like this. You are arguing with them, being a knowledgeable person. You are quoting the scriptures and all the great sayings which you know in support of your contentions, and in the process you do not know what you are doing. You are making the others feel guilty. This is not the way to transform these people. You see, they may not be knowing, they are not as wise as you are. But being a wise person, you should bring light to them, and they come to know themselves as to what their behavior is. Why should you feel that they are hostile to you? It is their problem, not your problem. Hostility is their problem, it is not your problem. So, in this regard, the master has quoted an incident happened in Buddha's life. So, the Buddha was insulted by many people on many occasions. How he handled with such kind of people is narrated in this incident. So, one day some people were arguing, condemning and insulting Lord Buddha. So, Buddha maintained his quiet attitude and simply asked them, why you are suffering with so much rage? Why you are indulging in such kind of spiritual fever? I can understand your attitude, your aggressive attitude, your uncompassionate words. But why you are making yourself and indulging yourself in such aggressive attitude, violent attitude? Buddha is not telling that the other is hostile to him. I mean, the others are hostile to him. There is no reference with reference to himself. He is not talking anything about himself. He is only talking about their attitude, about their behavior. So, He was so cool, so peaceful, so blissful. So, after they got exhausted, they realized that their arguments have not provoked any reaction from Lord Buddha. So, they have asked Lord Buddha, we do not like your doctrine, your philosophy, and we are trying to belittle you in all possible ways. But why you have not reacted to any kind of provocation or utterings from our side? What is the secret of your tranquility? Then Lord Buddha told them, my dear ones, if you throw a burning torch in a river, what happens? That burning will be there as long as it touches the water. Once it touches your burning torch, once it touches the water, it becomes cool. It has no effect on the cool water. Similarly, whatever you have thrown at me, whatever you have uttered against me, whatever it is, it has touched me and it has become cool. I am not in any way affected, as I am always peaceful and blissful. Your words have not had any kind of reaction or provocation on my quiet attitude. So, similarly, when you are in that kind of blissful attitude, if somebody says something, I mean, suppose you are telling they are hostile, their hostility is their problem. It is not your problem. So, when that burning torch of hostility touches you, if you are blissful and peaceful inside, they should not have provoked you in any way. So, that is the attitude and teaching of the great master, Lord Buddha. So, masters teach in certain contexts and situations so that the disciples can absorb the real meaning of such teachings. That is the wisdom of the masters and the mercy of the masters towards the disciples. Thank you.